All right, today we got Emily King. Seen some of her stuff, it's actually pretty good.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. They're almost like happy about the fact that they're going to make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
I just want to quickly point out, right? Why is it so typical that any single time a guy, for his own sake, right, wants to take a break, he's taking a break from women, he doesn't want to engage with them, he doesn't want to enter into the game playing of it all, right? It's somehow his internal war, shaming language towards him for even considering his own peace. I just I just can't understand it anymore. I just can't. It's so rampant, right? And it's such a accepted view that guys must be essentially servants to women, right? They can't even focus on themselves for a bit, right? Girls complain if you get with them and don't want to commit. And now they're also complaining when you want to take time away from women to focus on yourself for a while. It's a it's a lose-lose, right? No matter what you do, you're not going to be a good guy. So at some point you just got to say, "Good. I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll do what's best for me," right? There just has to come a point where you just got to filter the noise and not care. Just want to point that out.
It is not because they're fighting a war within themselves. It is because they found peace with themselves.
Absolutely the truth, right? You get to a certain point, you realize that the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? You get with a girl, she takes from you more than she gives to you. Now, people are going to complain about that and say, oh, well, relationships shouldn't be transactional, right? But then if they're not transactional, why is it that the woman always wins the transaction? Because women are always the ones that say that relationships aren't transactional, right? But I do find that interesting how they're defending it so hard. Is it maybe because they're the ones that are always benefiting from them? Just an interesting thought, right? Of course, if you spin the narrative that that's not the case, then of course you can maintain power, right? And we know we live in a feminine world now, so we know that the feminine has much, much more power than the masculine. Therefore, it makes perfect sense that this would be the case. This is how I see it. Obviously, nothing is wrong with an exchange if it's mutual and not done under duress or coercion or any of that stuff, right? A mutual exchange is actually the most beautiful thing that can exist, right? As with any negotiation or exchange, if one party is benefiting way more than the other, over time, it will start to wear out the party that's receiving a lot less. Once they get worn out, it's gonna be very hard to maintain that relationship. So it has to be balanced in some way. Now, of course, in today's time, guys are willing to give way too much and girls are willing to take way too much, right? So that's sort of the state we're in right now. And this is why there's such a problem with relationships, right? Your average relationship now, woman gets way, way, way more than guys get, right? And girls love to pretend like, oh, what's the point of having a guy if I'm working, doing all these things, stuff to do laundry? Well, the problem is, right? Like we like each other for different reasons. This is the problem. Like as a guy, like most guys will agree with me, they don't care how much money a girl makes. They don't care. They really, really don't. Because in reality, they're never going to see a dime of that anyway. It's like, so what? A girl can maybe get you a little bit better Christmas gift. Maybe. But even then, like, if you're like me, you don't really care about gifts that much, right? Because you understand the nature of it. Gifts are nice in theory, right? But there's a reason why there's never that friend that comes and gives you a gift every single Christmas, even though you've never bought him a single one, right? It's mutual. Gift giving has to be a mutual art. And sometimes easier to just not give gifts. Now, I'm not saying never give gifts. I'm just pointing out that a girl will give you a gift as long as she's gaining something. Otherwise, she's not going to get you gifts. So even that's conditional. So we start talking about women making money and all this stuff. It doesn't typically matter to us because they're the ones that are attracted to us based on what we can provide. Sure, they may not look at it directly through how much money we have in our bank account, but our lifestyle is correlated to how much money we're making. If you're a really resourceful guy, you're still going to have to spend money to create a lifestyle. Even if you could do all of these things on your own, right? It's still going to take you time. So it's important to understand that difference, right? Girls care about what we have and what we can provide. We don't really care about what they can provide. So them having a job doesn't mean that we're still not going to want the other things because those are the things that we're actually attracted to. Someone that is super willing to do things for us. That's what we like. You can shame guys if you want to, but that's what guys genuinely are attracted to. Girls that are enthusiastic to do things for you, and not just sexually, obviously. Anyways.
And she was so close. She was just so close to getting there because at least she's recognizing what men are saying. Because they're tired of the complaining, the double standards, the expectations, and the risk of losing everything that they've built. There is no unresolved internal war going on in these men. He just found peace and contentment on his own instead of using that energy and effort on someone else.
It's 100% the truth. Right. And tons of guys are waking up. I see a lot of you guys in the comments, right? A lot of you guys are fully aware of the reality, maybe had an experience or two, and you know the brutal reality of dating, and you know that it's against you. You know that you're playing a game where you're at the disadvantage. It's just the nature of being a man in 2024. Okay. The deck is stacked against you. You're walking into the casino, right? And you're playing a disadvantage game. So at this point, your best option is play the game that you know you have the best odds with. Right? Understand when to cut your losses. It's very important, right? Understand what hands you want to invest in to give you the greatest chance of return. Don't go all in on a hand that is super risky that may work out because just like the casino, more often than not, you're going to get burned. Even if you win one time, it doesn't mean you'll win in the long term. And this is what a lot of guys also fail to understand. So what you won in the short term. Even if you got some girl that you think is a 10 out of 10. Let's say you did get that 10 out of 10 girl. You likely sold your soul to get her. And now it's going to be a steady decline until the point where she essentially just kicks you out. Invest carefully and be aware of the laws as they pertain to relationships. It's our job ultimately as guys to not let them have their cake and eat it too. If women as a whole wanted to be independent, then they have to take some responsibility for that. And when I say responsibility, I mean it's not your job to just give endless amounts of dollars, not because you don't have the money, but because of principle. You're not going to just give a woman thousands of dollars just because you met her, okay? That's not realistic. You have to vet her, make sure that she's worth your time and energy, right? And if she doesn't understand that, guess who she's in it for? Only herself. Anyway, that was a bit of a rant, but hopefully you guys get the point. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe. If you want to see more of my private content, don't forget to check the link in the description below.